Well, hello Internet, and welcome to part 4 of my Qt video tutorial. In this part of the tutorial, I'm going to take a very popular paint application that is on the Qt site, and I'm going to build it and explain every single line of code along the way. This is going to be a multi-part tutorial, and you're going to be able to find all the code available in the description underneath the video. And I have a lot to do, so let's get into it. Okay, so here we are, and of course you're going to be able to create everything here just by clicking on the file up in the upper left hand corner, and then you're going to go new file or project, and you are going to come in here where it says application and Qt widgets application and choose, and then you can call it whatever you want to call it, and then continue to create the application. Alright, and everything works exactly the same on Windows as well as Mac OS. I'm also going to show you a common way to solve an error that we have. Now, if you are on Mac, this is a very common error. It is the undefined symbols for architecture x86-64. What you're going to want to do is you're going to look for this qmake file right here, this configuration file, and the actual location for it is either going to be in applications, Qt, and then the rest of this stuff that you see here, mkspecs, macx, clang, or it's going to be in your users directory. So it's going to be in either one of those different things, and you're going to want to open up this file. And whenever you do, you're going to specifically look for this line right here, and it's probably going to have an 11 on it. You're going to want to make sure that it is either 12 or that it is going to match up with whatever you have on your Mac. So I have 10.12.2. Don't put the 0.2 in there, just put 10.12 and save it, restart Qt, and that error will go away. All right, now let's get back into our paint application. So we're going to start up here with, it's going to be whatever you named your application, .pro, and you're going to open that guy up. And for print support, you're just going to want to put print support inside of there, okay? And that is all you're going to have to do, and save that. Now we're going to jump over into mainwindow.h. And there's going to be a couple changes we're going to make here. You're going to put QList inside of there because we're going to use that. And then we're going to go, I am going to call this Scribble Area just like it does in the tutorial. So we're going to go Scribble Area and class, and that is going to be the widget that we are going to be drawing on, and we're going to create that here as we continue. Now, this is going to be the actual main window for our application. QObject is going to declare our class as a QObject, which is the base class for all of our Qt objects, and it's going to do things like handle events and such. And what else do I want to do here? Down inside of protected, I'm going to define a couple different things. What I want to do here is create a function that is going to be used to close an event. So we'll just call this close events and Q close event. And this is going to be used in whenever we want to stop an event from executing. So for example, if the user tries to shut down the application without saving, we're going to protect against that occurring. And we're going to come in here and do a couple more things. These are going to be all of the what are commonly known as events, but we call them slots inside of Qt. So we're going to have the ability to open an image file. We are going to have the ability to save an image file. We are going to be able to change our color for our pen. We are also going to be able to change the pen width, and of course I'm going to define all of these functions. And there's also going to be an option to open an about dialog box, which is going to give us some information on our application. And here what we're going to do is tie our user actions to functions. So create our actions, and then we're also going to create our menu system that is going to be tied to different events and cause different things to happen, if I can spell menus properly. There we go. We're also going to come in here and check if changes have occurred since our last save. And if they have, we're going to give the option to save our application. We're also going to provide the option to open a save dialog and then save our images. So save file, and then we're going to be passed the actual file that we are going to be saving. So file format, that's what that guy does for us. The scribble area, as I mentioned before, which we're going to create here, is going to be where we are going to be drawing our pictures. We're also going to have a whole bunch of menu widgets that we need to define. So we're going to have a save as item that is going to be available to us. We are also going to have the ability to have the main file that all this stuff is going to be tied into. So file, menu, and we're going to have an options menu that is going to allow the user to change the pen size as well as the pen color, among other different things. And we'll have a help menu, which is going to contain the About dialog box that the user is going to be able to click on to learn about our application. I'm going to also come in and create a open action, and this is going to be all the whole bunch of different actions that are going to be available to us. So open action, and then we're also going to have a bunch of options for the user to go in and pick file formats that they want to save, and we're going to put a whole bunch of different Q actions inside of this guy, and that's going to be under the save as options. And what else are we going to do? We're also going to be able to change the pen color, and so we have to define all of that. Likewise, we are going to have the pen width, so I might as well just copy that and change this to width. We are going to have a print action, so print inside of there. We're also going to be able to clear our drawing surface, so we're going to have clear screen action. And likewise, we can have our About dialog box, which I talked about earlier, is going to open up. And then we are also going to go and have our QT information pop up. So About and QT. All right, and that is everything. And this guy right here and this guy up here is just going to make sure that this header is never, the information isn't loaded twice. Okay, so there is everything that's going to go in main window.h. And now I'm going to jump over into scribblearea.h and show you everything we're going to be defining in there. All right, so a whole bunch of different things, and we're going to be able to change colors. We're going to have an image, obviously, we're working on, and points, and then the Q widget, which we're always going to load. All right, well, I already talked about the Q objects, which just declares our class as a Q object. And then we'll come down here, and of course, this is going to create our Scribble area. Once again, I'm in scribblearea.h. That's what I called everything, scribblearea.h. There's main, and there's main window. So what are we going to do inside of here? Well, we're going to have to be able to handle all of the different events that can occur. So if we want to open our image, and then of course they're returning a Boolean depending upon if they could open said image or not. And it's going to be able to, or it's going to be passed a file name, which is going to be the file that the user chooses in the dialog box to open up. And what else are we going to do? We're also going to come in and we're going to be able to save an image. And of course, once again, we are going to have a file name that is going to be chosen by the user, and the file format that we are going to be saving as is also going to be defined, and we're going to have that set up in a menu system, as you're going to see. And what else? We're also going to have the ability to set our pen color, and we're going to have constraints on the different pen colors that can be chosen. So once again, we're going to have a Boolean returned if they somehow would go in there and try to pick a color that was not available for us. We would throw that out. And we're going to also likewise, well, actually in that situation, it's not going to be possible for them to pick a color. So that's why we're going to leave that as void. Okay. And likewise, we're going to have the ability to change the pen width. And of course, that's going to be an integer. And we are going to ban the user. I'm going to show you how to ban the user from using a pen width that we do not want them to use. We are also going to be doing some things where we are going to be monitoring when changes have occurred. So for example, if the user goes and modifies the image without saving it, we are going to handle that situation and return modified. Also, we will return a Q color for our pen. And let's go whatever the current color is. And we can just return my pen color. And also we are going to do the same thing, provide an option for them to receive our pen width and constants and return my pen width. All right. So there we go. Those are all those different functions. We're going to have some different events handled inside of our Scribble area. So we're going to, like I said, give them the option to clear the stage if we want to clear it. And we're also going to give them the option to print the images that they went and drew. Under protected, this is going to be a whole bunch of mouse events. So mouse, press, event, and we will go and monitor that, of course, and override that. Okay. And we're going to do a mouse event. We're going to do a couple different mouse events. Obviously, if it's a paint application, we're going to have to monitor where the mouse is and what the user is doing with it. So we got the press. We're also going to monitor the movement, and everything else here is exactly the same. And likewise, we're going to also need to know when they release the mouse button so that we know that we no longer want to go and continue drawing on our surface. We're going to have to update our Scribble area, which is what we're going to be able to, or what we're going to be painting on. So, Q paint, and there's a whole bunch of different things that are going to sort of lighten the load so that we will be able to only write or update specific parts of our Scribble area so that we're not wasting any of our processor time. We are also going to make sure that the area we are drawing on remains as large as our widgets at all times. So resize event, Q resize event, and get that guy there. And override again so that we can do exactly what we want. Down inside of private, I'm going to define a whole bunch of other different things. So for example, if we want to draw a line, we're going to go from the previous point that the user was located at and the current position that they are in, and then draw a line. And we can do that in very, very small increments, of course. Resize our image. We will get the image that we are working with, and we will also go and get our size. So new size, and of course this is all just initializing everything here, what we're doing. And let's continue on. What else are we going to do? We are of course going to have a Boolean that is going to monitor if the image has been modified or not. We are also going to have another Boolean inside of here that's going to be marked true or false depending on if the user is currently drawing on our surface. We're going to of course have our color, which is going to be the pen color that the user chose to use. We're going to also have the Q image, which is just going to be the image that the user has drawn. And we also, of course, are going to have to monitor constant changes of our mouse. Okay? Once again, this is just here to make sure that this information is not loaded more than once. And there goes the Scribble area. Everything is covered there. And now I'm going to go into main CPP. And you're not going to need to change absolutely anything with this. This, of course, is going to be the main application. And right here, we're going to create our main window and then say that we want to show the main window. And then right here, we are going to say that we want to display the main window. And that is all we're going to do with main CPP. And now what I'm going to do is create part of the main window CPP. And then in the next part of the tutorial, I will finish up absolutely everything else and make the application work 100%. Okay, so this is, of course, the main window constructor that we have right inside of there. We're going to have to add a couple different things here. We're going to go and create our Scribble area, and that is new Scribble area, of course, and that's what we're going to be drawing on. And we're going to set it as our central widget so that it is going to take up all of the screen real estate that we have for the application, of course. What else are we going to do? We are also going to create our actions and our menus. So create actions, and these are going to be functions. We're going to go and create down below. So create menus, and we're also, if you want to go and set the title for our application, this is where you do that, and you just put TR, and then you're going to put in the name of the application. So that's what that does, and then this just resizes our application. Okay, so we got all of that set up. Now what are we going to do? Well, we're going to continue on. All right, so we are going to provide the option to close an event. So I'm going to go main window, and we call this close event in our header file, Q close event, and that is our event that we have. And what we're going to be checking here is if they try to close, maybe save, which is a function we're going to create here in a bit, is going to return true if no changes have been made, and then the app is going to be closed. So we'll say call maybe save, which we'll create here, and then we will go event accept. So if that comes back as true, then we are going to accept the event. Else, if it comes back as false, we are going to say event ignore. And there we go. All right, so let's create some more functions inside of here. We want to check if the current image has been changed, and then open a dialog to open our file. So main window again, and this guy is going to be open. And first what we want to do is check if changes have been made since our last save before we open a brand new file. So we're going to use maybe save again, which is going to return true if changes have been made, like I said before. So we'll go maybe save, and if that comes back as true, we are going to open a dialog box, which is going to ask the user to choose the file that they want to work with, and that's going to be saved in the file name, of course. And to open a dialog box, we go Q file dialog and get open file name, and there's our application. And then inside of here, we're going to define the text that's going to show up for this guy. Let's move this over here so you can see it a little bit better. And then we are also going to get the current directory where we are going to start off looking for applications or images that we would like to open. Now, if we have a file name, we're going to a valid file name, which is what we're going to check for next. So file name is empty. That's how you check that guy. So if it's not empty, then we're going to go and get our Scribble Area and call open image on it and pass in the file name that we are going to open. All right, and that's all we're going to need to do for that. So let's create a couple more functions here. Also, are going to need the ability to save, of course. So main window, and we are going to call our save file. Going to go and create an action, and a Q action just represents the action that the user is going to click. So this is called action and Q object, and we need to cast this as a Q action and then get the sender of said action. We're then going to store the actual byte array for our file. So file format is equal to action and then call data, and we need to cast this guy so that we can store that, and there it is. And then we are going to pass it to be saved. So file format, and there we are. All right, let's create a couple more functions here. And if we want to give them the option to go in and change the pen color, we'll just go pen color like we defined. What we're going to need to do first is store the chosen color that we are going to receive from a dialog box that's going to open up. It looks like a little circle with tons of colors inside of it, and to open that, we call the Q color dialog, and get color, call the, get the scribble area and pen color, which we will make this in the next part and final part of this tutorial. And we want to make sure that this is a valid color. So we'll go new color is valid. And if the new color is valid, we call the scribble area and set the pen color to the new color that the user said that they want to draw with. And that's it. That's how easy it is to change the pen color. Now, if we want to open up another one that's going to allow them to change the width of their pen, again, main window, and this one is pen width. So there's that. And nothing's going to be passed into it. And we're going to have to store our button value. So that's going to be whether they clicked on the OK button or not. Once again, we are going to have to get whatever the new width is that they chose. We're going to use the Q input dialog, which is built in, and get integer. And there's the application. And we're going to use tr once again to define right here that this is going to be the title. The title is Scribble. And let's create some more. We're then also going to define what text we want to show up inside of the dialog box. So that will be select pen width, and let's go put a colon inside of there just to make that perfect. And then we will call or define the function that we want to call whenever this is a new pen width is selected. We are also going to define the minimum number, the maximum number, and the step, and then finally that we want an OK button to show up inside of our dialog box. And then what we're going to do is we are going to say if they clicked on OK, and that is true, then what we want to do is go and call scribble area and set pen width. And we will pass inside of there the new width. Okay, and we'll create a couple more functions here before we stop. If you want to go and open a about dialog box, that's quite easy to do. We'll call this about, and then what we'll do is this is called a Q message box about the app. And then whatever you want to show up inside of the, well, this is first off, the first thing is going to be the title that you want to show up. So about Scribble, and then after that, the text that you want to show up inside of there. And you can use different HTML styling if you'd like. So and then you can put a bold tag inside of there, Scribble, and close the bold tag. An example is awesome. And then closing paragraph tag. And what else do we want to do? And that's it. That's how you go and create a dialog for our about box. And I think that is just about a perfect place to stop. And in the next part of the tutorial, I will create the rest of the application. And just as I've done here, I'll explain every single line of code. So please leave your questions and comments below. Otherwise, till next time.